Hello, welcome back. We're going to start right on talking about the lens. The lens is a flexible crystalline structure. It is clear, so we can take in light information, and it can be sent to the retina. It is held in place by suspensory ligaments, and it's attached, the suspensory ligaments, hello, there we go, are attached to the ciliary muscle. So here's the lens. The lens is what splits the anterior chamber from the posterior chamber. These are suspensory ligaments that are holding on to the lens and then attached to the ciliary muscle. Ciliary muscle is what then changes the shape of the lens to allow us to see either far away or close up. So the lens is divided into two segments or two regions. The anterior chamber is known, or is what contains our aqueous humor, which is a clear fluid that helps in nourishing the lens and maintaining a healthy anterior compartment. So it cleans and feeds the lens, helps to feed the cornea as well as the iris, and then it is drained into our blood plasma as we make more aqueous humor. The posterior chamber then contains the vitreous humor. Vitreous humor is a gel-like substance. It's more viscous in nature. It's a very thick substance, and it actually functions in holding the retina to the back of the eye as well as maintaining the shape of the eye. So again, aqueous humor up here, vitreous humor back here. And here you can kind of see the color of the vitreous humor. It looks almost, it's kind of cloudy here. You can also see that it looks almost like a jelly substance. That is typical of vitreous humor. It's very jelly-like. And then up here we have the aqueous humor that will help in protecting and nourishing the lens, which normally would be clear, but this is a dead eye. Dead eyes don't have clear lenses. I'm going to stop here. I'll be right back. So aqueous humor is the fluid between the lens and the cornea, and it helps to provide nourishment for the lens and the cornea. It also helps to maintain intraocular pressure, which I did not mention before. And then it's continuously reabsorbed into the venous blood. As we make more aqueous humor, we take the old fluid and bring it back into our blood plasma. Vitreous humor then is your jelly-like humor, and it helps to maintain the structure of the eye as well as pushing the retina to the back of the eye. When we want to study the eye, or if we are trying to see if there's any damage to the eye, we use an ophthalmoscope that helps us to look at the back of the eye. This can help us in identifying if the pressure is different. Pressure changes can be associated with diabetes and arteriosclerosis. We can also see if there's any damage to the retina or the optic nerve. And so this is a picture of the eye, or a figure, through an ophthalmoscope. So you can see that optic disc. You can see the fovea centralis, which is the most the area that has the majority of our cones for the best visual acuity. So when light is moving in, it comes in from the external environment, and it's going to be bent by the cornea, by the aqueous humor, by the lens, and the vitreous humor. So then the eye, and then it hits the retina. The eye is set up for distant vision. That's normal. So accommodation occurs when we have to see things closer up. So we can see things farther away easily, but our eyes, the lens shape has to change for us to see things that are close up, which is why as we age, the muscles of the eye, those smooth muscles of the ciliary body, actually don't function as effectively, and that's what causes us to have problems seeing close up. So if you've ever seen someone after age 40, they start holding books or uh, anything really farther away from their eyes so they can read it, that's the reason, because they're not able to accommodate as effectively. And oftentimes you need reading glasses for that. So here you can see what happens normally when the lens is in its relaxed shape. We're going to see perfectly 20/20. But if we're looking at something close up, then the lens has to change shape. It has to actually get more rounded. And that allows us to see, again, much more or perfect vision, but only through accommodation. So the optic nerve is the nerve that takes the information from the retina to the occipital lobe. The optic nerve actually enters a region called the optic chiasma, and this is where the optic nerves actually cross partially. And so information on the right side of the body comes in, and it crosses over, a portion of it crosses over to the left side of the brain. And the same happens from the left side of the body, goes to the right side of the brain. And so when we see an image, both our right and left occipital lobes are actually processing that information. So we see one perfect image. So then our optic tracts that lead to the occipital lobes contain fibers from both the lateral side of our eye on either side. So like from our left eye, the lateral fibers from our left eye and medial fibers of our right eye, and vice versa. Okay. Can I get this? Oh, there we go. Whoop. Okay. And so the pathway then would move the optic nerve to the optic chiasm, the optic tract, the thalamus, which then sends the image to the occipital lobe, optic radiation, and then occipital cortex. So let's look at this. Here we get information coming in to both eyeballs. The information then is going to be passed on to the optic nerve. So here we have the right optic nerve, here's the left optic nerve. At the optic chiasm, the medial information from each of the nerves is going to move to the opposite side. And so now we have in the left and right optic tracts, we have information from both sides of the eye. That leads then to the visual region of the occipital lobe. So we have binocular vision, which allows us not only to see information in front of us or on the sides, but we can also detect depth in our vision. And each side, each eye actually sees a slightly different view, and that allows us to see the full image perfectly. And then we can also see the depth of whatever we're looking at because of that binocular vision. Not all animals have that ability. So some disorders associated with our eyes. Well, first, typical normal eye vision is known as emmetropia. But nearsightedness means that you can't see items or you can't see far away distances. You can see things close up. That's why you're nearsighted. And this is usually associated with your eye being a little bit too long. Hyperopia, your eyes, stop. Okay. Hyperopia, your eye is, or your eyes can focus on far away items, but near items are blurry. So this is called farsightedness. And this is usually associated with your eye being a little bit short or your lens being a little unable to focus properly. An astigmatism then is a blurry image. And this can result from the light not moving in properly, usually associated with the cornea or the lens not having the proper curvature, and that causes a slightly blurry image. A lot of people have slight astigmatisms. Very serious astigmatisms are going to lead to typically glasses or contacts. And so here's normal eye vision. Here you have myopia, so that long eye. And so you're focusing a little bit too close up, not on the back of the retina. And so a concave lens will actually allow you to see farther, allow you to focus on the back of that eye. Whereas myopia, this is nearsighted, or this, I'm sorry, hyperopia, which is farsightedness, you're focusing behind the actual retina. And so a convex lens brings that light forward so you can focus on the back of the eye again. So now you should be able to answer. There's a lot of information on the eye. So all of these questions on the study guide, and hold on, nope, there we go, and all of these questions on the study guide. I'm going to stop here and then I'll post this one and we'll get into the ear next. Bye.